The Buffs finally get the respect that they deserve and were ranked in this week's ESPN AP poll at 23rd in the country. After a 34-23 win against Cincinnati this Saturday, the Buffs move on to an overall record of 6-2 on the season and are going to a bowl game for the first time in almost a decade. Welcome to Buffs Banter,
your source for Colorado football. Let's
go
Buffs!
Welcome to Buffs Banter, presented by Believe Network. My name is Dean Frank, and I'm here with my co-host, Oscar Gonzalez-Moore. Oscar, we did it, man. This has been a long time coming, 4 years for us now, just being Buffs fans in here on campus, but we are finally going to a bowl game. It's inspirational thinking about how this team has transformed just a couple years ago, and the Coach Prime statue needs to start being built right this second.
100%. I mean, it's amazing what has transformed, and I'm not satisfied, man. I mean, 6-2 is great. There's still 4 games left in the season. I don't want to go to a bowl game because I'm not even going to feel motivated to go because Travis and Shedeur probably aren't going to play, If they're going to play in a game after the college football season is officially over, then it's going to be the Big 12 championship game and potentially the college football playoffs.
Yeah, no, that is true. Starters usually don't play in the bowl games, and that's something I barely even know because I haven't been able to watch my team play in a bowl game.
Right.
But, I'm going to take a step back here because, bro, from this team just being a 1 overall win team 2 years ago, obviously, yes, I'm expecting so many big things from this team and, covering this team this whole offseason and the start of this season so far. It's I know the potential that the team has, but I think we just got to live in the present here. I mean, this is awesome. Buffs fans have been waiting for this, and we are finally going to a bowl game. But like you said, when we look at the rest of the season, 4 more games left. We have a bye next week, but there is a good chance we should win out. We should win out. We should definitely be favored in every single of these games. And obviously, it's going to help a lot if teams like BYU, Kansas State, and Iowa State lose somewhere, which I'm hoping happens very soon because I would love not to sweat that out. But before we talk about the future, let's talk about what went well this game. And just looking at some stats real quickly, Shedeur Sanders, a very consistent 25 for 30 on the night, 323 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown of his own.
Chef's right after that. Right there.
Yeah, and then I'll just run through all the stats so the fans or everyone listening understands what we're talking about. Another big reason why we won this game, Mr. Isaiah Augustov, 22 carries, 91 rushing yards. I said it in the last podcast. If he was able to get 100, I was feeling a breakout game, but I'm very satisfied with that 90 and a touchdown of his own. And then the man, the myth, the legend, Travis Hunter is back. 9 receptions, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that's not even talking about what he did on defense. He had 4 pass breakups, a couple tackles, and not to mention the wide receiver 1 on Cincinnati only had 11 yards.
Oof. Wow, 11 yards. That's nuts. Yeah, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Travis is going to be healthy for the Arizona game." No, clearly he wasn't. This is what a healthy Travis Hunter looks like. The best player on offense and defense. Straight domination by Travis, man. I mean, that was disgusting. And some of the balls, Shedeur, I'm not saying they were bad balls, but he was hit on them. And Travis just readjusting, that catch at the end of the game to put it away. When he got in the horse collar and still caught that. Oof, that was dirty, dirty, dirty work by Mr. Hunter. I also love how he keeps doing the Kaisenat celebrations, and they're tough, dude. I've never seen a college football player dance like that in the end zone, that Spider-Man one.
The backflip into the Spider-Man. Are you kidding me?
That was awesome, dude. That was awesome. He's bringing a whole new aspect to the emote or celebration in the end zone. So that was great to see. But yeah, I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, I think that the 3 corners we have, between Hunter, Preston Hodge, and McKinney, that's as good as it gets.
Best trio in the nation.
It's nuts. They locked down, like you said, held Cincinnati's top wide receiver to 11 yards. I mean, this is a team that the Cincinnati team was known for their offense too. Brendan Sorsby lucky that pick didn't count. That was disgusting by Preston Hodge too. A little, hey, give me that. Snag action by him. But yeah, I mean, like that cornerback back room is just it's something else, man. And not even to mention we got freshman Colton Hood waiting for his chance next year too. He's a star in the making. So
No, definitely, man. And like, I'm not going to pat ourselves on the back or anything, but like going into this week, we kind of mentioned like Cincinnati was very bland. Like, we knew what we were going to get with the Cincinnati team as long as we played Colorado football, which is weird to say because, now Colorado football is actually something to watch. I mean, we're not just must see TV anymore. We are getting better every single week, and it's being shown. I mean, let's talk about the offensive line as well. Obviously, the first couple of the weeks, I mean, everyone probably saw what happened against Nebraska, and we're like, okay, same old team, same old team. But as the season has gotten deeper, only allowing one sack, our O-line had a 92.2 pass blocking grade. This was the best performance we've had all year, only allowing one sack. And that one sack was kind of Shedder's fault. So it's like, at what point are we just going to stop with the old things of last year and like move on? This team is a real deal. Jordan Seaton, man, 0 pressures allowed. He's going to be the first overall pick in a couple years in this draft.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, what Seaton's doing right now is insane. I mean, you put him out there, true freshman. I get it. He was the number 1 guy coming in, but like, yeah, I think he's over delivering. Is that crazy to say? Like, he had such high expectations and he is playing out of his mind. Going back to what you were just saying though, Colorado football, I hope like, we keep winning in the years to come. So it's like, how people are like, good old Texas football. Hopefully someday people are like, oh,
Back in
that's
my
good
day.
old Colorado football,
There
like
you go.
they don't make them players like they do in Colorado.
No, well, I
Anyways,
felt like, I mean, before we were like, when we were kids and even before then, like we had a Heisman winner, like we were in the championship, it's just been a minute. So it's awesome to see like Colorado and like, especially Coach Prime keeps calling out Peggy, who's been a Bucs fan for forever now. So like to get her to the bowl game, it's just like, it caps it all off. But like you said, in the words of the GOAT, job not finished. So we got a lot of football to be played, but I think we definitely can celebrate this. And I mean, another big thing that I like to look at is just like I talked about last week, the over at the future bet from the start of the year. Vegas had Colorado at 5.5 wins, and a little over halfway through the season, we already demolished that. That was a lock. I hammered that, and I'm happy about it because I knew the potential of this team, and for us to cruise over that future bet already, it just shows that like we are so different from last year. This team is the real deal, and we are ready to contend in this Big 12 conference, man.
oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's really coming down to BYU, Kansas State, and Iowa State. And finally, man, they put some respect on us. Colorado's ranked number 23 team. I think we could have been higher, but honestly, I'm just glad we're in that top AP poll. Like, I'm more excited about that than like being bowl eligible. I got some buddies that go to Oregon and Indiana, so it's still like getting a little broed. But hey, we're in it, and we're only going to keep it moving up the chain. Moving up the ladder. Like you said, these 4 games. I don't know if there should be considered locks, but I think we should be favored in all of them. That Texas Tech game kind of scares me, but hey. Focusing on this game, what was the most impressive part of this game for you, Dean? Or
Yeah.
why do you think, we really just
Look, I mean, if you had 2 eyes and you're watching this game, you saw our 2 superstar players, both Shedeur and Heisman. I mean, Shedeur and Travis can both be, yeah, my bad. That's just all I'm thinking of, Heisman, because Shedeur and Travis can both be Heisman potential. I mean, we've been talking about Travis and Heisman because it's just insane that he's probably the best 2-way player we've ever seen on this planet. And what he's doing is just out of this world. But people haven't really been talking too much with Shedeur and Heisman because he's been so consistent this year. So consistent in everything he does. We kind of just sit back and we like feel like it's going to happen because that's what we expect from him. We expect him to put up these numbers. We expect him to probably be the first overall pick in the NFL draft, which is insane to say. I think it's going to go to the Raiders because they are god-awful. But anyways, I mean, talking about the Heisman odds, kind of going off topic, but before this game for Travis, it was at 1,400, which kind of comes into play. I mean, he's been injured the past couple of weeks. He hasn't been able to do too much, but we know that when he is healthy, he's like no other. I mean, he's the best player on the planet, and the odds have switched to plus 375. Hammer that, lock that, because I mean, he's a unicorn, man, and he's going to end up in New York with that Heisman Trophy one way or another. But like you said, I like to see us getting that respect because it's been a minute now, and like we talk about the haters, we talk about people not believing in Colorado, and I think in a way, people might think this is a crazy take, but Coach Prime, Deion Sanders has been so humble this year. He's mentioned in press conferences, he's like, I don't even want to be ranked. Like keep sleeping on us. And I kind of do like the underdog mentality because it's just making us play harder every single week. We're getting better. We're not taking anything for granted. Just like, I mean, the Big 12 is wide open and we know that. But I think Colorado is the team to beat right now because the way we have been winning like these over the past 5 weeks after that Nebraska game, taking out Kansas State as well. But we've been playing some well-rounded football. And now that we got this run game going, we got some Shedeur has some time in the pocket. It's just like the possibilities are endless. But that was a rant, just to mention what you would ask me. It gotta just be seeing Travis back and healthy, man. I mean, it's so cool. Just like him and Shedeur, 10 seconds left in the first half, and we just take a 50-yard shot. Who else does that? Any normal team would try and kick a field goal and, play it safe, but not us. We are just different. We have Coach of the Year potential and 2 Heisman candidates. This team is legendary.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just really like the way we dominated the game from the jump, man. I mean, 17 points in our first 3 possessions. Like, you can't ask for anything more than that. And they did a good job, Credit to Cincinnati. I think they scored touchdowns in their first 2 drives as well. So
our live bet touchdowns were locks too.
Oh yeah. A lot of money made last night. But anyways, yeah. So that was really good to see, especially earlier in the season. It feels like that was our kryptonite, kind of like Colorado gets off to a slow start,
Yep.
and then like we're playing catch up. But now it feels like, especially like Folsom, man. Folsom is becoming more and more of a home advantage like every game. Like
Yep.
You barely saw any red in there yesterday. I mean, I know it's the Bearcat, and what the fuck is a Bearcat? Like, I'm not.
Who lives in Ohio, man?
Like, yeah, so funny. Oh my God, some of the chirps last night were getting me going. But yeah, seriously, I mean, like, I have a feeling Cincinnati, I mean, opposing teams just in general want to come, but the Boulder fan base is just growing exponentially. And last night was just a sea of black, which was so awesome to see. And yeah, I mean, I felt like the game was kind of over at halftime. Definitely a little nervous because last Parents Weekend, we're up 28-0 against Stanford. Who knows what the fuck is going to happen? But no, I mean,
it's never over. As Buff fans, like it ain't over until that final whistle. And like we kind of showed that. I mean, they came back. Thankfully, Mata had that clutch field goal at the end, but I mean, it didn't feel like
a really sus field goal too.
Yeah, we should talk about that too. I mean, it was a 47-yard field goal, which is a pretty decent length, but at the same time, Mata has been 9 for 11 this season, so he's had a quiet, pretty good season. I mean, I think it just feels like I'd rather have the ball in Shedeur's hand just because of the type of player he is, but Mata sealed the deal for us last night.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. I just hate the way it looks like from the stands when he kicks it. It looks like it's so low every time.
Yeah, you never know.
Like it's leaving the ground, and I'm like, no chance. And then it goes in. It feels like it's just like, I'd love to see an advanced analytic of how much space he has from the crossbar. But no, props to him. You know what I mean? 9 for 11 is 9 for 11. That's still 27 points at the end of the day. So yeah, and that definitely, I wasn't scared at the end, but I was a little like, there's still time on the clock. You know what I mean? We definitely like pumped the brakes a little bit after that early touchdown in the third quarter. Yeah, we didn't really have too much going, but at the same time, we didn't really need to. We wanted to play conservative, run the ball. Obviously, giving some guys a break, which is good. And yeah, I really like the team, the way this team's rolling, man. Like, just come out, dominate, give some of the star players like a little bit of a break, towards the end of the game, let some newer faces come into the game and see what they can do, And I know Colton Hood didn't play as much as I don't think we were expecting, or I was expecting him to play more. But still, it's opportunities like that, it's situations like that where if we're not dominating the game, like even though Colton Hood is a hell of a player, like he might not see too much playing time. But actually, pivoting the conversation, if that's okay, do you have something? Yep. Okay. I do want to talk about Shiloh Sanders, which, that might have been one of the only negatives to the game, I guess. 2 games ago, he had a terrible game, as his father had put it. And then he plays decent against Arizona, I think part due to the scheme. And then last night, oh my gosh, that was frustrating to watch, man. And I think there's going to be a lot of articles tomorrow about the nepotism going on because we got some dogs, like we were saying. And Shiloh was just definitely not on his A game. And this isn't the first time recently he hasn't. So
I know. I think he is coming off a little rusty. I mean, he was injured the past couple weeks before that. I know. I mean, now we can't say that anymore, but it's tough to say. I think a lot of hate gets put on him because for some reason, that's the new narrative with Colorado. It's yeah, let's hate on Shiloh. I mean, I think there were a couple of missed tackles. Our defense definitely could have. I mean, we were better than that. We played better than that. We weren't really able to get to the quarterback. Cameron Craig had 6 tackles. Shiloh had 5. I think there's always someone that can be better. I just, I don't want to hate on it because at the same time, it's this team played a super well-rounded game, and we didn't give up anything too big. Maybe in that first half, definitely could have slowed Corsby down a little bit, but I think Shiloh, I like when he plays confident, so I don't want him to take a step back. Which I mean, what, he's not going to listen to this and change his game at all. I mean, he knows what he does. He's confident in his game, but I think it's just when we don't see him have any of those big tackles that we're used to, in a way, it feels like he might not be playing as well as we thought he would.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the things, you're right. He still had 5 tackles, which is not half bad at all. But I think there were a lot of big moments where he did not come through. I can remember the first touchdown, he wasn't even close to the wide receiver. But that was his man. There was a play where Sorsby was running the ball, and it was 3rd and 14. Shiloh's turn to make the tackle. Safety comes up. That really bothered me. It felt like he was still maybe having shoulder problems or something. And if that's the case, he's not 100%. What are we doing? Take him out of the game. I mean,
Sure.
And that was just to name 2 plays, but I'm sure there was a couple more at least. I remember too, he got called for, I don't know. It wasn't a horse collar, but just bad. I don't know. It just, his body language too was really frustrating.
Yeah.
To watch.
I understand that. I think I'm going to play devil's advocate here, though. I mean,
please do.
We are going to a bowl game. We are ranked. I think for us to talk about Shiloh Sanders, a couple missed tackles, I mean, it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. But obviously, us being hard, analysts, I think it's important for us to see what's working well and what's not. As we're closing off with this game, I do want to just mention, as you talked about Colin Hood and just next man up mentality. Isaiah Augusta is definitely that guy. I mean, Micah Welch was injured with a hamstring injury. I guess I didn't know that going into the game, so it was kind of a game time decision. But Augusta stepped up for his second start in a row, almost 100 yards. He broke 10 tackles. He runs he reminds me a lot of Pacheco. I mean, they might not have the same body type, but when he gets the ball, he's running hard every single time, and he runs through people. I mean, he's a big guy, so for us to have that run game, I think that opens up the field so much. And we haven't really been talking about Pat Shurmur negatively at all. So when we have that run game, we win. I mean, it's simple. They mesh so perfectly well together. Every single game we talk about having a good run game, we get the dub. So I think we got to just keep pushing that narrative so that it opens up the field and Shedeur can really just get into his magic, do whatever he wants to, because he's able to just step back and be so much more consistent when not all the pressure is on him.
Yeah, and I think this is getting scarier for teams too, because now it's we do have to worry about the run game. The last 2 games,
Yep.
we've ran
Been
over
noticed.
200 yards. So yeah, props to Isaiah, because you're so right. We kind of forgot to talk about him, but he's been killing it, man. Like, he is a true runner. Welsh, I still am a big fan of him, but right now this is just what's working, and like you said, next man up. Anyways, before we end the show, what's your biggest takeaway, I guess, from this week moving forward? Anything you want to talk about?
I'm just going to talk about Coach Prime. I got to glaze for a bit here because what he's done, man, we were 1-11 a couple years ago. And for so much hate, all the whole narrative was just like Colorado's a joke, not taking them seriously. I mean, I'm going to keep saying that every single week because we felt that so much. I mean, just us as Buss fans, obviously, we're confident. We see the potential. But the rest of the sports media world is not taking us seriously. And every time I say Colorado should be ranked, it's who have you played? Colorado should be ranked. Like, you guys aren't the real deal yet. You got to win more games. It's just like, come on now. Who else can we beat? The Big 12 is wide open. We played obviously we lost to Kansas State. We're not playing BYU. We're not playing Iowa State until the Big 12 Conference Championship, which we will be there in Dallas, by the way. Book that flight now. But anyways, it's just like Coach Prime needs to have the respect. I understand his ego. I understand the whole narrative, the whole media side of things that people don't really like because coaches aren't usually like it isn't traditional, right? The journey he's gone through, obviously being a Hall of Famer, probably one of the best NFL players to do it, now be a coach and just so outspoken. I think people need to start looking up at those well-off media videos. Look at the Colorado videos when he's talking to the team and just he's very. I think the way he does it is just awesome, man. I mean, he's a dad, he's a coach, he's the GOAT, man. So I'm done glazing there, but Coach of the Year, I think, is definitely in the hands because this transformation is not normal. It's not normal for a team to have one win 2 years ago and be bowl eligible halfway through the season 2 years after that. So we got to give our props to Coach Prime, and I want to see a Coach Prime statue in the next coming years.
Yeah. For me, I think it's undeniable now that Travis Hunter is the best two-way player we have ever seen at this level. I mean, I think a lot of people thought at first, hey, he's not going to be able to keep this up. This isn't sustainable. But hands down now, I don't think there's ever been a player like Travis Hunter, or there ever will be a player like Travis Hunter. 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, multiple pass breakups and tackles. You just can't ask for anything more. And we are witnessing history. And if you're not tapped in right now, what the hell are you doing? Because this is the best player in college football, the best player in the world right now, and a future NFL star.
Like Shador says, man, it's legendary for real. Watching Travis Hunter play is just it's unreal because what he does is expected every single time. And like you said, on that one PI when they got had against him, I guess it was at I don't know where it was on the field, but for him to catch that is like that isn't a normal human thing to do. You wouldn't expect that even from your wide receiver 1 in fantasy football. You know what I mean? So it's just like what he's doing is top tier. I can't wait to see him in the league. But yeah, taking in the present on what he's doing right now. So we got to buy next week. I think the podcast next week should definitely be just our expectations going forward. So make sure to tune into that because we got 4 games left in the season. And I think there is a great chance we win out and go 10-2 and go to the conference championship. Obviously, we can only control what we can control. Hopefully BYU, Iowa State, Kansas State loses somehow, some way. So we'll be watching. If you're a Buss fan, we don't got a game this weekend, but make sure you're just rooting for one of those teams to lose because that'll help us out so much. But we appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Buss Banter. Make sure to go follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, everywhere. Make sure to comment. I mean, it's been so fun watching this season. And like the past couple of years, so many ups and downs. It's been a roller coaster of events, but we are bowl eligible. We are ranked, and this team is here to stay. So keep hating on us, keep sleeping on Colorado because we don't care. We're just going to keep winning. Oscar, close us off, man.
Hell yeah, man. Let's go Buffs. I'll just say it's a lot better of a feeling making the podcast now than a year ago where this team kind of started to just tank. You know what I mean? So I'm just happy we're winning. We have smiles on our faces when we're making these podcasts. You know what I mean? They're so much more enjoyable when we beat the shit out of other teams. But that being said, like Dean said, Sco Buffs. And yeah, I hope everyone's having a great weekend and a better next week. Let's go. Keep the vibes high.